our moment is now. Every young person across this country that has to recognize this moment and say that we can't wait. We can't wait.
There's that sense of wanting to be proud of being an American again, and wanting to be proud of what our country's doing.
I feel like for the first time we're actually getting an opportunity to change what's going on because we don't like this path that we're going down now.
We're not going to sit by and watch soldiers continue to be killed in Iraq. We're not going to sit by and let this world decay through global warming and we just sit back and shake our head.
You know, does it have to be this way? People say, I don't know anything about politics. I have no idea what I can do, but I know that we care.
So many young people so motivated for one common cause.
As I approached this campaign, I had to ask myself, why now? Why us? And I think the answer is because the country is calling us, because history beckons us.
You don't want to miss this. This is something that I'm not going to miss for anything else.
This election year, the torch is being passed to a new generation.
This generation is voting with a vengeance.
There's a kind of a 60s kind of movement feel about this.
Turned out in record numbers in 20 states.
This is a generation that cares about the direction of the country.
Don't forget to vote today.
Yeah.
They are volunteering in their communities, they're technologically savvy, and what's astonishing is that as a result of young people who stepped up, we saw a record number of participation.
A huge, huge victory for Barack
Young people in
Obama.
Iowa participated at about the same rate as older Iowans, which has never happened before in the caucus process.
Iowa transformed the Democratic nominating process. I mean, we had students who were coming back from wherever they were for Christmas break to caucus.
Thank you, Iowa.
And it wasn't just Iowa. It went from state to state to state to state.
Thank you, South Carolina. Thank you, Idaho. Thank you very much, Wisconsin. Thank you, Minnesota. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Young people should get a fair amount of credit for Senator Obama's success in this presidential nomination.
Just in, Barack Obama has clinched North Carolina.
I mean, I'm working with young people every day that tell me they're going to work for Obama, they're going to registered voters, because for the first time in their lives, they have a faith that actually their efforts will amount to something.
At each and every juncture of our history, somebody's been audacious enough to say, we can do something different. And more often than not, it's been young people who've done it.
The civil rights movement really wouldn't have existed without students. If you think about the sit-ins, those were students. The freedom rides, those were students. The famous demonstrations with kids getting water hosed, those were students. In many cases, those were high school students. Mississippi Freedom Summer, which is credited with leading to the Voting Rights Act, which is why any of this is possible today. That was students. Students, not only did they make a difference, but they literally produced the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act.
Dr. King once said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. It bends towards justice. But here's the thing, young people, it doesn't bend on its own. It bends because you put your hand on that arc and you bend it in the direction of justice.
When he gave the speech, he didn't have a paper in front of him. He didn't have a script. He was just walking around just talking. And to say, you know, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. This is your chance to hold on to this and move it in the direction you want it to go into. But it's not just gonna be, you know, like going to a concert, you know, whoo, good concert, okay. All right, what are we doing tomorrow? It was about like, wow, okay, I gotta get involved.
He asks us, he calls upon us to help him change the government. And he can't do it alone, and he can't do it without us.
There's a lot at stake in this election. The people over there in Iraq are our age, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old people that are dying, that are coming back with no arms and no limbs, and their lives are changed forever.
Who knows where the next 10 or 15 or 50 years are going to take us unless we make some real changes with global warming that are going to heal us rather than hurt us further.
My freshman year, it was 45,000 a year with room and board. And there just needs to be something done to help students get out of this quagmire of debt.
How can we say never forget about something like the Holocaust and not do anything about Darfur, and not do anything about 200 to 400,000 people dying in a desert that don't need to be dying? How are we going to answer our kids when they say, you know, where was my mother when?
So it has been for every generation that faced down the greatest challenges and the most improbable odds to leave their children a world that's better and kinder and more just. And so it must be for us.
It must be about what we can do together, restoring the meaning of what it means to be a citizen, restoring that sense of common purpose. And it's not just something that's, you know, put together and polled and put into a nice little molded box. It comes from the heart.
If we each just touch the people we know, then touch the people in our dorm, then touch the people in one other dorm, 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 100 by 100, register people to vote. The potential is astronomical. I mean, I don't even know how many new voters we can register. You know, we won't get a second chance.
I face this challenge with profound humility and knowledge of my own limitations. But I also face it with limitless faith in the capacity of the American people. Because if we are willing to work for it and fight for it and believe in it, then I am absolutely certain that generations from now, we will be able to look back and tell our children that this was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs to the jobless. This was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and our planet began to heal. This was the moment when we ended the war and secured our nation and restored our image as the last best hope on earth. This was the moment.
These moments do not come along very often, and history is calling us. History is calling us to act. And if everyone does their part, we can make that moment real. We can make it happen.